Welcome to the Nonstop Development Environment for Eclipse 5.0. In this video, I will demonstrate some of the new debug features added to NSDEE. New debug features in 5.0 include support for privilege debugging, casting of variables and expressions to nonstop OS data types, 2 new debug views, file opens and segments, and additional details added to the modules view. The new privilege debugging feature enables access to privileged code and data while executing in privileged frames. To use this feature, you must connect to the Nonstop system as a Super ID user. I will connect as both super.super and a normal user to show the difference. First, I'll connect as super.super. For this demo, I'll be using program-initiated launches, but the features you see demonstrated here are available in NSDEE-initiated launches as well. Next, I'll connect as a normal user. Close the Network Connections window and switch to the Debug perspective. I've logged into Nonstop as super in one Cygwin window and as a normal user in a second Cygwin window. Let's start a debug session in both windows. First as super. Then as a normal user. The first launch is the super launch. To enable privilege debugging, open the Debugger tab in the Config window and click on the checkbox at the bottom. Click Debug and it will launch a privilege debug session for super. For the second launch, I will attempt to do the same. Note that the super launch successfully enables privilege debugging and indicates this with the priv marker at the end of the xinspect entry in the debug view. The second launch has failed to enable privilege debugging. Note that the priv marker is missing in the debug view. And you'll see an error message in the native inspect console indicating that it failed to enable privilege debugging. To demonstrate the remaining features, I'll be using just the non-privileged debugging session. The next feature is the ability to cast variables and expressions to nonstop OS data types. First, let's step into a function with some variables that we can cast. Expand the Variables view. Select the first variable and right-click to open the View menu. Select Cast to Nonstop Data Type. Choose the appropriate type and click OK. Note that the value displayed is illegal toss version because the variable is currently uninitialized. Repeat these steps for the other variables that you want to cast. Now let's step through the program to assign some valid values to these variables. As we step, note that changes are highlighted in the Variables view. Let's run to the last line in the function. Expand the Variables view again. Note that all the typecasted values have been assigned, and the values are formatted appropriately for each type. The value of a typecasted entry cannot be modified. Let's try double-clicking the first one. The value could not be changed. To change the value, restore the original type, make the change, then recast. Now the value field can be modified. Recast. And we see the new value that we entered formatted as a TOS version. Note that the two Julian timestamps, GMT timestamp and LCT timestamp, are both displayed as Julian UTC times. If we recast the GMT time as Julian UTC with local time conversion, it should match the value that the program computed for LCT timestamp. And it matches. Now let's look at the two new views added to NSDEE 5.0, File Opens and Segments. These views are added by default to the Debug perspective. If you're using a workspace created by an older version of NSDEE, you may not see these views. You can open the views with Windows Show View or simply select Reset Perspective. And the views are added. Let's select File Open. The File Opens view shows that we currently have one file opened. Let's open some more files. The view updates to show the file that was just opened. Views are updated only when the program suspends. The File Opens and Segments views do not highlight changes. Now let's open some more files. More files have been opened. Expand the view. Select an entry to view its details. Note that the details displayed depend on the file type. This is a disk file. Now let's close some files. Restore the view and step through the close file loop. As we close files, we can see the view is updated. Now let's take a look at the Segments view. The view displays memory segments currently allocated to the process. Let's allocate a couple more. Expand the view. Select an entry to show its details. Restore the view to normal. When we deallocate those segments, the view is updated to show the change. And lastly, let's look at the changes to the Modules view. Note that the view now includes an entry for the program as well as the libraries. And many attributes are displayed in the Details pane for each entry. This concludes the demonstration of new debug features for NSDEE 5.0.